Everybody, I just wanted to talk really quick about treats. I know that I've told you we're going to have this video coming up. There's a big push in our culture when you're talking about eating habits to hear people talk about cheating. You hear like, oh, I was eating really well and then I cheated. And we've even used that language some during this reset because on our reset, we were taking out those treat-like foods, like wine and sugar, chocolate, all those things that you've probably been craving for the last 20, 21 days that you finally got to enjoy this weekend. So we've been taking those out. So when you did have those items, technically that is a treat, right? Or a cheat, I'm sorry. That's when we think of a cheat, right? But I want you to start to shift your thinking as we're moving towards more of what a maintenance lifestyle looks like. And I know for some of you, you still have weight that you want to lose. And I think that for you, you might want to continue the week 4 lifestyle for a while. And I'll talk about that a little bit more as we go on and even give you some opportunities to join some week 4 groups that I'm going to start because I'm seeing a need from some of my clients in the past too, wanting to have a little bit of accountability that's not quite like the reset, but they're still having some of that regular accountability. So with that being said, I want to go back into our treat versus cheat conversation real quick and say that it is really, really, really big passion of mine that when we're talking about life, like real life, not being on a reset, not being on a diet, but when we're talking about real life, that we're looking at a life that is healthy. The majority of our food and daily habits are going to be full of good grains, fruits and vegetables, healthy meals, that we're doing things to take care of our body, that we're staying within a healthy calorie range. And by that, I don't mean too high or too low. I don't mean starving ourselves or overeating. When we're really looking at what it looks like to have a healthy lifestyle where we're fueling our bodies, taking care of our bodies, and living within some sort of a balance, right? I mean, balance doesn't actually exist. So I can throw out 80-20, 90-10, and those are great goals to have in your head. But I think also remembering that there's no perfect formula for what balance looks like, right? But I think for me, this shift in my mind from cheat to treat has been huge. And I've seen great success with clients as well. And I think that my biggest thing about when you get to a point where most of your life is healthy and you're able to go to a party and have a brownie or have a glass of wine with your husband after dinner or have a margarita with your girlfriends at a Mexican restaurant, have chips and salsa occasionally. Like those kind of things are a part of life that's enjoyable. And I don't think we need to leave those settings feeling guilt and shame when they're happening sporadically. So I think that's the shift, is retraining our habits to where they're not a regular occurrence, and then retraining our mind to not feel guilt or shame once we have those. Because guilt and shame leads to more negative habits, where freedom leads back to a healthy, more permanent lifestyle. So I want for all of you, for all women, honestly, I want us to be able to eat well and take care of our bodies and enjoy those gifts for what they are. That's why I always say, eat your treats slow. Enjoy it. Make it worth it. It is not one of those things that's done in shame. When it's done in shame, like I said, it usually leads to binging or unhealthy habits of starving yourself the next day. That's not freedom, and that's not a healthy life. That's actually bondage. So it takes time. So if you feel that, know that this is a journey, and it takes time to really learn how to allow yourself to enjoy those things and then move forward with healthy habits. So something that I had heard at a conference actually this weekend was that habits are, I'm going to make sure I quote it right. Practice makes permanent, not perfect. And they were not talking about eating. But I loved the freedom in that statement, that as you practice eating well, it's going to become more of a permanent part of your life. But you're not going to be perfect, right? So there's even going to be times where you have a treat and you overdo it. You are planning on having 2 cookies and you have 5. And you feel horrible and you want to start that shame and guilt spiral. Remember, that leads to more bad habits. So that's where you give yourself grace and you remember that you're not perfect, that no one's perfect, and you're going to have those days, and you move on right at that moment. That is my biggest thing, is right after you feel like you've failed, you can know that you can start fresh right then. That next meal, that next bite, that next no, that next yes to exercise, whatever it is your restart right then. So I love that. Things are not perfect. You're not going to be perfect in this journey, but I want you to make that mental shift from cheating to being able to treat yourself, for taking care of your body and enjoying the things that I feel like God's really given us to enjoy, like wine and chocolate. Like there's a reason chocolate's so good, right? I feel like it's a gift that we need to be able to enjoy in a healthy way. So